Good day children, Sairam, and welcome back to our next session of this lesson, that is land use. Okay, in the previous lecture we have learned about the planned cities, then mixed use of the land. Okay, then we have learned about transitional areas. Okay, and these are the things which we have learned in rural land use and the urban land use and the transitional land use. Okay, now let's learn more about the ownership. So now we are going to learn about the ownership of land. As you all know, any land which is there, it can be privately owned or it can be publicly owned. That is the government. Okay, either the government owns the land, or the private person owns the land. So here we are going to learn about the ownership only. Now, as you all know, land registration is done under the revenue department of the government. Okay, whether it is private or whether it is public, but the registration is done in the revenue department of the government. So, if we want any information regarding any of the land, we can get it from the revenue department, that is maintained in the 712 extract. Okay, what is this 712 extract? If you all know, the 712 extract, commonly it is called as Sat Bara Utara. Okay, we call it as Sat Baracha Utara. Okay, now what is there in this 712 extract? Okay, in 712 extract we can get to know many things about a particular land. First of all, we can come to know under whose ownership the land is. Okay, then we can have a record. The extract is a record. It is just a record of the under the public revenue department of the people, those who are owning a particular land. Now what is this number? Sat Bara or 712 extract. Okay, here in the public revenue department, serial number 7 and serial number 12, okay, are distinctive sections of the law. Okay, they are called as the sections of the law pertaining to the ownership of a particular land. It is just the 712 extract which is there. It is just like a mirror about the land. Okay, and why it is called as a mirror of the land? Because in that one can get complete information about that piece of land without actually going to that particular place. Okay, just by seeing the 712 extract, okay, we can get to know every detail about that land. How much is the land, who is owning the land, where the land is, at what location the land is. Everything we can get from this 712 extract just by sitting in one place instead of going to a particular place and finding out the area. Okay, we can get all possible information from the 712 extract, which is maintained by the Public Revenue Department. Okay children, now let's see the sample about it. Okay, before that, now let's see the registration. The register of the revenue department records the details of the ownership rights of the family. Now only the ownership is not there. Only the persons who is owning the land, that is only not maintained with the revenue department. There are many other things also the revenue department records, like the ownership rights of the family, okay, the status of debts and loans taken by the family or taken by the owner of the land. Okay, if he has transferred his land to some other person, that also is maintained. Okay, and the area which is under different crops, which crop is grown in that area, that also record is maintained with the revenue department. So much of information we get from the revenue department just by seeing the 712 extract. Okay, so only we can say the 712 extract is just a mirror of the land. Okay, then village form number 7 and village form number 12. Okay, so these two forms of the village, that is 7 number form and 12 number form, they are combined to prepare the 712 extract. Okay, so what is this 712 extract? It is form number 7 and form number 12 which are combined together to form the 7/12 extract. Now this village forms which are there, it is available with the talati of the village. Okay, every village talati, okay, is having this type of forms. Okay, the village forms are available with the talati of every village for land and revenue collection purposes. Okay, it is maintained by the talati just to collect the land and revenue collection. Okay, I hope children you all have understood what is this 712 extract. Here is a sample picture of a Satbara. Okay, you can see in this first picture shows the Satbara. Okay, Satbara, mainly when we talk about Satbara extract, we always say 7/12 extract, it is only for the rural area, that is Gaon Khata. Okay, in which the land which is covered under agriculture area, okay, forest area, okay, the land under which is covered under the village, okay, wherein people stay over there, that is the residential areas in the rural areas. Okay, all is there maintained in the 712 extract of the village. Okay, so you can see the sample of it. Such type of sample form is available with the revenue department. Okay, while if you see the second over here, the second form over here is called as the property card. That is, in Marathi we call it as Malmatta Patrak. Okay, Malmatta Patrak here means who owns the land. Now such type of land which is owned by an individual, mainly in the urban areas. Okay, that is also maintained by the revenue department. Okay, and so the land which is owned in a city area or a urban area is known as property card. Okay, that person who owns the land owns the property card. While in the village area, if a person is owning a particular land, it is called as Satbara extract or 7/12 extract. Okay, so understood the difference between 7/12 extract and the property card. Now let's see how this 7/12 extract is read. How to read it. Okay, how do we understand it? Occupant class number 1. What is the meaning of occupant? The person who is occupant class number 1 means the land over which ownership rights are available through generations. Okay, it is transferred from one generation to the another, or we can call it as ancestral property. Okay, so he is the sole owner. Okay, that family is the sole owner of that particular land. That is called as occupant class number 1. What is this occupant class number 2? This occupant class number 2 means the land given by the government to marginal farmers, or we can say landless people. Okay, such land can be sold, it can be leased, it can be pledged, or it can be given as charity, or it can be transferred with the sanction of the district collector. Okay, in occupant class number 1, the land is always transferred, getting owned by the family members only, from one generation to the other. But in occupant class number 2, it is the land given by the government to the marginal farmers, so that can be leased out, it can be sold out, or it can be pledged out, or it can be given as a charity also, or it can be transferred also, but only with the sanction of the district collector. Below that, under assessment, the amount of tax levied on the land is given in rupees or paise. Okay, just below that, just below the 7/12 extract only, it is given about the tax levied on the land in rupees or paise. Now, in other rights, the names of other joint holders are also included in that. Okay, so these are all the things which are there in the 7/12 extract, and how we can read out. This is given over here. Okay, then this also shows the status of loan taken for agriculture and whether that has been repaid or not. That also is maintained in the 7/12 extract. That means a person who is owning the land, whether he has taken any loan, okay, or whether he has repaid the loan or he has not repaid the loan, that also is mentioned in the 7/12 extract. Next is we are going to learn is property card. Okay, in the previous part we have learned about the 7/12 extract, that is Satbara. Okay, now this is property card. What is this property card? As I have already told you, ownership of non-agricultural land is recorded on the property card. Okay, this type of documents mainly shows ownership and the area of the property in the urban records. From the urban records only we can get the ownership and area of the property. Okay, so if you want to know about a particular land in the urban area, we can get the record from the urban records only. Okay, now in this property card it is mentioned the city, the survey number, the plot number, the amount of tax on that land, the area of the property assessed, while right to access it. Okay, all this is mentioned in the property card. Okay, just like the 712 extract, this property card is there. In the 712 extract, mainly we talk about the agricultural land. In the property card, we only talk about the non-agricultural land. Now here you can see a pie diagram. Okay, now what is this pie diagram showing you? About the Maharashtra state land use in 2010-11. Okay, wherein you can see the use of land in Maharashtra, that is 56.8% is area under crops, then 16.9% is area under forest. Okay, then you can see 10.2% and the non-agricultural land, 7.9% and the grazable and cultivable land, while if you can see the fallow land is 8.3%. Okay, so this is the land use in Maharashtra. So depending upon this, just answer some of my question. What is the percentage of land suitable for cultivation? See the pie diagram and tell me, what is the percentage of land suitable for cultivation here? Cultivation here means? Yes, area under crops. Okay, suitable for cultivation. How much land is there? 56.8%. Next question. What is the percentage of barren land? Now you see in this part, where you can see barren land, area under crops is there, area under forest is there, non-agricultural land is there, grazable and cultivable fallow is there. Then what is this fallow land? Okay, yes, that is the barren land where nothing is done. That is fallow land. Okay, so how much is the fallow land over here? 8.3%. What is the percentage of land under forest in Maharashtra? Now see the pie diagram and see how much is under forest. Yes, 16.9% area of Maharashtra is under forest, which is very, very less, children. Okay, only 17% of Maharashtra's land is under forest, which is not at all good. Okay, it is a rule that at least 35% of the state land should be under forest area. Okay. What is the percentage of non-agricultural land in Maharashtra? Non-agricultural land, if you see, yes, 10.2%. Okay, children. So this is how we read the pie diagram and answer the question depending upon the. Okay, so let's continue. Now here we can see general land use and its changes in India. Okay, so here it is showing about the graph over here. Give the answers on the basis of the figure which is given below. Okay, you can see the blue color is showing the forest area, then the orange color is showing, not orange color, red color is showing the non-agriculture area, then grey color pasture, then light orange color we can see other non-agriculture, then purple color we can see fallow land, and the green color is the total land under agriculture. Okay, so let's answer some of the question depending upon this graph over here. Which are the land uses of 1990-91 that show a decline in 2010-11? What could be the reason for this? Okay. Now, here you can see First is the forest land. Forest land in 1990-91, it was, no, it is not decline at all. Then if you can see the red color, that is non-agriculture land. Any decline is there? No, that also no decline is there. Then if you see the pasture land, yes, here you can see a certain decline in the pasture land. Okay, the gray color part, if you can see, it is showing a decline in the pasture land. Okay, in 2010-11 we can see that it has declined. Okay, even if you see the other non-agricultural land, okay, so there is a slight decline in it. Okay, other non-agricultural land. Okay, why it is happening? Why there is a decline in this parts? Just because of the growing population. Okay, growing population. What is happening? The land under agriculture, non-agricultural, as well as pasture land, okay, they are becoming lesser and lesser. Which type of land use is maximum? What would be the impact of this on India's environment? Okay, which land use is maximum? That is total agricultural land is under use is maximum. Okay, what could be the impact on this? Yes, soil degradation takes place on a large scale. Okay, soil degradation takes place on a large scale. Okay, for that then can a decline in the area under agriculture be equated with a food shortage? Okay, if the agriculture area is decline, can there be a food shortage? Yes, there can be a food shortage, because according to the growing population, at least the agriculture should not be declined. The area under agriculture should not decline. Okay, children, this is how we read the graph and answer the question. Now the last part over here, we have to just remember what we have learned. What are the factors affecting land use in rural areas and in urban areas? In rural areas, the land use is affected by the climate of that place, soil, type of slope, irrigation facilities, natural resources, government policies. Okay, these are the factors affecting the land use in rural area. While if you see in the urban area, location and site, natural resources of that place, housing development policies in that place, transportation routes, industrialization, trade and commerce, playgrounds and entertainment facilities, government policies. Okay, these are the factors affecting land use in rural areas and urban areas. I hope you children, you all have understood this lesson properly. Okay. So that's all about this lesson. We'll come up with a new lesson in our next lecture. Till then, thank you children.